So a chop to me is this little chunk of notes that you've latched onto and you've been like, man, that's my jam. You know, a great 1970s chop would be right, left, kick, kick. Yeah. And you're going brr, brr, brr. Or maybe like the reverse Herta that Travis does. That's a little chop. A drum fill to me is something very different. You could use a chop inside of a drum fill, but a drum fill, now we're bringing in music. Because if I was playing drums by myself, there's really no reason to do a fill. I'm just drumming. I'm not going to do like a beat and a fill and a beat and a fill. But a drum fill fills in the gap between two parts of a song. So you don't just play a drum fill whenever you want. You play a drum fill when there's a moment. I mean, Ringo Starr famously said, when he asked about, like, when do you do drum fills, and he said, when the vocals stop. Like, I don't do a fill if someone's singing. That was a great little nugget right there.
Yeah, cheeky little nugget right there.
Especially if your singer's Paul McCartney or John Lennon.
Yeah,
stay in your lane.
It was. I'm pretty sure that was just, that was them saying, "Look, shut up."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
if you hear me, don't play.
Yeah, and then him going to all the drumming magazines. This one thing I learned back in the day is always, I
didn't even learn it. Just came up with it.
Just give them space. You were told to shut up, mate.
Yeah, you were told to just simmer down. So I think that, to me, a drum fill has to be related to the music. So obviously you can think between a verse and a chorus, or a chorus back to a verse. Second verse into the second chorus, you might elevate a little bit more. Second chorus into the bridge, you're going to have something different. And generally, drum fills in music are much, much shorter than they are taught in books or drum lessons or online lessons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, massively. I just see fills, for me, aren't even like a thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's very hard for me to like explain what I'm thinking, but like fills, it's just a part of the music. It's like this unwritten thing. It's like this if it happens, it happens, and when it happens, it's just got to make sense with the music. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. It's kind 100%. It's kind of written in the stars what it should be anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like, oh, this needs a fill. What can we do? It's like, oh, this needs a fill. This is what should happen. Do you know what I mean? It's like fills for me, man. It's like it's like this very hippie thing of it just happens. You know what I mean? It's kind of always there. It's either there in the beat and the vocals, or probably the vocals, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, I think you also have to be constantly listening, because that fill may need to also accentuate something. It's really rare that the band like all hits a big power chord on the downbeat of 4, and then you don't have to, and they don't come back into the next bar, and you have a full measure to go scat to go but game but dome shik to bucket bang. Usually something's happening musically between the verse and the chorus in this gap where, okay, there's a place to fill in the gap. It's a drum fill. I'm going to fill this gap, but there might be a little upstroke, or like the track that you taught the campers last year, there's these little pushes where it's like, yeah, you can do a fill, but you have to hit these notes. These notes are what in jazz band what we would call ensemble figures, like meaning the entire ensemble has to hit these notes and these rhythms. So that can make a fill really complicated, because let's say you go into the fill saying, I'm going to use my new chop. Well, your chop might not fit with these little punches and stabs and pushes that are inside the song.
Yeah, which is really hard to do, because as drummers, you sit there in your little practice room practicing these chops all day long, and you play them for Instagram in videos, and you think it's going to be usable. And then, everyone does it, mate. You get to the rehearsal room, like no matter what level of music you're playing, it could be down the pub with your mates, it could be playing arenas, whatever. But you get into a rehearsal room and you realise you're just playing singles. You're just playing a 1E and or an R, and it's singles, and that's pretty much it. But
100%.
But yeah, man. Fills, man. It's a listening game, 100%. Like you said, it's always there in front of you. Just got to sort of find it to a certain extent. But